During the winter of 1976, Horowitz returned to California to play 2 recitals after an absence of almost 25 years. During his visit to the scene of his appearances at Ambassador College in Pasadena, we had a chance for an extended old-fashioned reunion and chat. And it is my pleasure to present the tape of our talk at that time. I should immediately explain to you, so you won't be confused, that we call each other by the Russian diminutives of our names. And Vladimir is Volodya and Abram is Abrasha. So you won't get mixed up. And now, Volodya, I don't think you know it, but we have something to celebrate in this bicentennial year. What we have to celebrate is that you and I first met in London, in Steinway's basement in 1926. And that makes us have a golden anniversary of our friendship. You don't remember that?
No.
And I'm going to
tell you. In London?
In London. You were with Billy Steinway, and you were selecting a piano. You had just come from Germany.
Yes.
A colossal success.
Yes.
And I, of course, was just Hoffman's protege.
Yes.
And so I was a student at the time. Mm-hmm. But you had come with such reclame that London was full of excitement over you.
From Germany.
From Germany.
Yeah, that's right.
And we also knew about the, 70 concerts you had given in Russia the year before.
That's right.
So, you come to London, and I'm down at the Steinway's basement to pick a piano for recording for HMV, because Hoffman was playing some things of mine, and they wanted me to record them for 3 Chinese pieces. Anyway, who comes in but Billy Steinway with, I immediately realized who you were, and he introduced us, and we were polite, and we shook hands, and that was that. And he showed you one piano after another, which you tried, and then you said, in German, "What is that piano the Ecke, in the corner?" And Billy said, "That is Joseph Hoffman's piano." And you put your hands on your chest, Volodya, and you said, "Joseph Hoffman's eigener Klavier, Joseph Hoffman's own piano." And you said it in such a dear, wonderful, worshipful voice that I loved you from that moment on. And Billy said, "Yes." And you said, "Bitte schön. Darf ich probieren? May I try it? Just touch it." And he said, "Of course." And you went over and you touched that piano with such love, Volodya, and such respect that I knew we were going to be great friends. But you know, we never saw each other for 2 years. I heard you in that fantastic debut. But not until 1928 in New York City, with Sir Thomas Beecham.
Which will be now 50 years in 1 year and a half.
Of course. And tell us a little of your remembrance of that concert, because you know how many legends have come up.
But
about
you know, I don't remember. I'm entitled not to remember this episode at Steinway at London. I don't remember.
Well, of course not. Why would you remember me? I was nothing at...
I remember later that Hoffman, who created that new Hoffman action, you know,
yes,
he was
accelerated action.
I was the only one he permitted me to play in the concert.
I know that.
Yeah, you know that,
of
you know.
Yeah. Living with him.
I remember in 30s, and we became very good friends with him later.
That's right.
But in that time, my God, it was all names, you know, for me. I was a boy, you know, a child. My God.
You were very young.
But child, absolutely.
Young.
I started very young, you know.
And curiously enough, you didn't have the real kind of wunderkind stuff.
No, never.
And weren't you lucky?
No, not I was lucky. I had a very intelligent parents.
Ah.
I am from well-to-do family. I had a very close to Papa and Mama.
Yeah.
And they didn't allow me to play till I was 19.
Oh, that was great.
They didn't allow. I could play. I remember that my professor, Blumenfeld, said that, you know, your son could give a concert. I was 16. My father said no.
Oh,
till he reached more maturity, I will not let him play.
I was just reading that Liszt wrote a very bitter paragraph about his piano teacher and his parents for exploiting him as a child prodigy. And he said, "I cannot tell you the cost of this to my musical and whole spiritual life."
Yeah, this is very dangerous in general. That's only one person who I think came well from that is Yasha Heifetz.
Yes,
He didn't lose anything.
that's right.
He was a really genius violinist for all time.
That's correct.
Whether he was 8, 10 years, or he was 30, 20, he was always the same. The only case I know.
Well, Hoffman too, in a way, but he had a very bad period.
Yeah,
It was a
he
bad
was struggling.
period when the Grolier Society, insisted they were going to arrest the father or fine him or throw him out of the country unless they let him stop playing. Now, Hoffman, curiously enough, regretted that. And he said to me, it was a terrible thing for them to do because it took me years to get back to comfort on the platform again. They should have let me continue to play.
But it is I read in Russia the souvenirs, how you call the remembrance of Hoffman. I don't know if it was translated in English, probably it was. And there was very interesting episode that Hoffman writes that the last time he saw his teacher, Anton Rubinstein.
Yes.
That was in St. Petersburg after he already had very successful tour and he was already pronounced one of the greatest pianists all over the Europe and things like that. He came in St. Petersburg and he said that I want to see my master, and he called him and Mr. Rubinstein gave him appointment and he came there, so they started to talk. So Mr. Hoffman said, I would like to play for you. I learned something, I don't know, new piece. That Hoffman writes himself. I wanted to play. Rubinstein looked at me. After you gave already concert and you have such a name, you want to play for me? Get out from here.
Oh.
And go to play. And he would not let me play. He said that you have to find yourself how to play now. You're a mature man. And he said that that's the last time I saw him. The next time I saw the necrology.
Yes. Isn't that
He
amazing?
was dead already.
Well, it's remarkable.
He didn't want him to play for him anymore.
I suspect that you've always felt that way, too, because
I felt all the time.
you always tell young people, you say, don't listen to anybody, not even Horowitz, just be yourself.
Be yourself. Be yourself. So in the beginning, you can influence, inspire people,
Right.
but not imitate. In composition is the same thing. You can always tell who is inspired by somebody or who is imitating somebody.
Exactly.
You can feel right away.
Very great difference.
By the composition, too.
Right.
There are so many imitators of somebody, but somebody who is very much like a composer, but they have something their own. Even let's Scriabin, like in the beginning.
Exactly.
He's Chopinist,
That's
Chopin,
right.
but he's not Chopin. He's always Scriabin something
Yes,
there.
that individuality.
But you have 20 of them who copy Scriabin, or copy Chopin.
Right.
Yeah.
Volodya, one
And
of
the
the...
same thing is in the music.
I must tell you that one of the highest compliments that I've ever heard about, not heard about you, but witnessed about you, is that Hoffman, as you know, and Rachmaninoff had a very curious relationship. It was a kind
They
of
loved
friendly
each other.
enemy. Well, yes, and a love-hate relationship. Not hate.
No,
but
hate, no.
as you know, Hoffman tried to be a composer. And he wrote...
In that respect.
in that respect, he wrote, a piano concerto, which is not
I
a
know
good
that.
one.
I
And
know
he
many
wrote
things.
a piece called Chromaticon.
Yes.
And he always tried to compose, and he had very little talent for composition.
Yes.
And of course, Rachmaninoff was always this fantastic genius. And
He starts even more as a composer, as a pianist.
of course, I need not tell you that one of the pieces you play most marvelously, the Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto, is dedicated to our dear
Hoffman,
Joseph
which
Hoffman,
never
who
played it.
never played one note.
Competitive.
I think that's
that
a
would
good
be
word.
better word.
Right.
Competitive.
That's right.
Competitive, but as a pianist, they were very, very... Rachmaninoff was crazy about the Hoffman piano.
Hoffman was an
And
idol.
Hoffman was crazy about piano.
Rachmaninoff.
Yes, yes.
No.
But with composition, I didn't know.
All right.
First of all, I know that his name was Dvorsky,
That's right.
which called
Absolutely. Michael Dvorsky.
Michael Dvorsky.
Yes.
That I remember.
That was the
But he
pseudonym.
has even a symphony or something.
That's right. He had lots of compositions.
But
Not very good. We got to this because I was beginning to tell you that the compliment that I have for you is that whatever was very close to Rachmaninoff, Hoffman was skeptical about. He did not approach with the greatest warmth and love and appreciation.
But Hoffman was in later year a little bitter in general. As you know, he was not well and he was drinking and things like that.
That's right.
That was his private life, and it was a tragic years.
What I was so amazed about was that you, whom Rachmaninoff loved so much and admired so much, you were like a musical son to him.
That's right.
And the fantastic things that he said about you. So what I mean is that the great compliment to you is that Hoffman admired you and liked you so much, despite the fact that you were so enormously close to Rachmaninoff.
With a beautiful inscription.
Volodya, I want to now go to the first broadcast we did, which was your silver anniversary in 1953, that Carnegie Hall concert. And we did a beautiful broadcast because that program was broadcast over WQXR, which I was director at the time. And you know, I think it was your first radio appearance.
Probably, yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A live appearance.
A live appearance.
Live appearance from the hall.
Well, naturally. But what I want to say is that shortly after that silver anniversary came your need for a sabbatical. And remember, that was the first article I wrote about you. I think it was for McCall's magazine. And you said to me something to the effect that, you know, one can't go through life just playing octaves. I need the time to sink and to mature, and I loathe the role of a glorified juggler. And every time I play and I see reviews of my pyrotechnical displays, it makes me very unhappy. Now, you know, very little is known about those years from 1953 to 65 that you took that extended sabbatical. And as an artist, I know what you had in mind, and it was so admirable. Please tell our audiences.
Yeah, I will tell you something, that I wanted to take a sabbatical of 2-3 years, because first of all, I was very much tired of trains. I was playing 3-4 concerts a week. There were no planes that time, you know.
Right.
So I was traveling.
There were planes, but you didn't take them.
Anyhow, I was in the train, I never slept well, and I was tired, I couldn't stand, I was 2-3 nights, you know, 2-3 nights every time in the train, and that shattered. Can you say that?
Yes, shattered you.
Shattered me a little bit, and I wanted to rest from being fellow travelers. You know, that's the thing. It was enough, you know.
Right.
And playing just from one big city to small city and things like that. And so I told myself I need 2-3 years. Be quiet, rest, and you see, when
reflection.
Reflection. And most important, that when you play, you give, but you don't absorb anything. You see on the gasoline station, that's all, but you don't absorb anything. And when you are alone, you absorb a lot. You have a time. You can read, you can interested in many other things. And so I gave myself time 2-3 years. I said in 55, 56, I will start to play again. Then in 56, I start to make recording. And I said, my God, after all, I can live with recording. Why should I still play? Every year I liked it more. And so that came 12 years. But man, I didn't think that it would be 12 years. I thought 3-4 years like that not to play. And I extended, but I was making records all the time. At least someday I was working still.
But I think for 1 year, you did not play at all, from 53 to 54.
And 1 year at all, no records, not to 55 even, nothing.
I remember
nothing.
And you know, you said something very interesting to me at that time. We were talking about that, and I said to you, well, how do you feel about that, Volodya? And you said, you know, when you retire from doing something, you have to learn new disciplines. And that impressed me a lot, because you had to learn a new life.
Yes, sir. Because I start from Russia, you know, I never stop for a second. I had only 3 months in summer when I didn't play. And sometimes I play even in summer here. But in general, I played till May and started in October. And that was that routine. And I was feeling that I can get assembly line pianist, which I was not, and I am not now. That I'm not. No. You can like me or not dislike me, but I'm not assembly line.
No, well, Vladimir, everybody knows that how you worked to gain the artistic maturity which came to you.
Now, what I wanted to say, during those 12 years, I absorbed a lot. And I had all my colleagues who were coming to my house and telling me, Volodya or Vladimir Horowitz or Vladimir or whatsoever it was, you have to play, you have to start. But go somewhere in the small towns now after so many years. Try somewhere, go to Scandinavia that nobody knows and things like that. I was telling always my wife, I said, Wanda, I don't know why they sent me away from here. I'm living in New York, I have my own house. If I can play, I can play anywhere. I have to go to Scandinavia to try. What is to try? I'm playing. So I said it to myself, all right, I will make one program. I will go in empty Carnegie Hall, play it for myself. It was in 64.
Right.
I will play. If it goes well, then I will play in Carnegie Hall. That's all. Where I finish, I will start again.
But Vladimir, I said at the time when people were saying this to you, I said, what do you mean he should go to a small town? But when he plays there, it's no longer a small town. Everybody will be coming from all the big towns.
Yeah, but they will not know it. I mean, secretly like this. If you play somewhere in a small town in Denmark or it's not commercial.
You could become a secret like the Statue of Liberty.
No, at that time I don't know. But anyhow, in 65 I went straight direct to Carnegie Hall and I played. And after that I still refused to travel too much. And I was playing only in the East for 4 years. Then I stopped again. And
from
now,
69 to 74 you stopped. And
No. From 65 to 69 I played.
Yes, but from 69 to 74.
Again I stopped because I was frightened to fly.
Now that's very interesting.
That is only flying things. It has nothing to do with anything else.
Now you admit it. Before you were saying
now it was flying because I said that I will not my life play only in New York and Boston and go by car in Philadelphia. There are too many cities. It is not fair because they know me all over. And I have to go to Europe maybe or to other countries. And I was frightened of playing. I was frightened to fly because it was something new to me.
Right.
And finally I flew first time to Toronto. And there's something, and it started gradually. In 75 I started to fly. And now I have last year 20 concerts. This year I have 20 concerts. And I'm playing all the time. I flew from New York to Seattle now.
Well, I'm so delighted that you're here because we have our golden anniversary of our friendship, our reunion in Los Angeles. And I don't think we've seen each other for over a year in New York. Isn't that right,
because you don't live in New York.
No, I don't live anymore. I'm very happy here. I love it here.
Yeah, I see your wife very much.
Yes, listen, you're two great canasta.
Yeah, well,
great canasta players.
Yeah. She's a lovely girl.
Thank you. We're talking about Constance Keene now for our audience's benefit.
Yeah.
Now, with this great perspective of having played here since 1928, do you find differences throughout the years in the audiences, in the improvement of audiences' taste, and in programs that you can play?
Listen, I wanted to tell you one little episode. In 1929, when I was traveling, I remember I was under management of Arthur Judson, who was separate, who was not, later he incorporated with the Columbia, with Columbia, And he was separate like Europe was later.
Of course.
Later, he brought me here.
Yes.
Arthur Judson, yeah. So I remember I was playing in one small town, I don't know, it was Lincoln, Nebraska or something, and I received a telegram. The people ask you to change and not to play such a serious pieces like G minor Ballade of Chopin.
Oh, no.
Because, yes, in 29, because it's too much overhead. And will you substitute with something lighter, something more, how you call it?
Communicable. And easily digestible.
And so I did it.
Yes.
But now it is
Right.
hackneyed piece,
My God.
and you put it in the end of the concert, and everybody had enough, and that's the whole thing. But that's through radio, through the
phonograph.
recording, and everything.
Now, don't you also
And many
feel,
concerts, too.
Volodya, don't you
So
also
that's a
feel
good
that not alone is that true about audiences, but I also think that artists themselves, especially the vocal stars, are better trained, are better musicians. They're capable of being part of an ensemble more than 50 years ago, I'm sure.
the vocal.
Yes, the artists, the operatic singers, for
Some
example.
of them, not all of them.
No, but I do think that that the artists too have improved tremendously, musically speaking.
Probably, yeah.
Much higher level of musicianship. There's no question
Yes,
about it. As far as
knowledge of the musicians.
Yes.
Knowledge.
exactly. Then it's certainly at the time of the century, you know.
But you see, the thing is that to be a good musicologist, it doesn't mean to be a good musician, too. That's two different things, you know?
Yes, they are. And so is technique another story,
Yeah,
right?
you know, we talk about that.
Yeah,
you know my point of view, too, about that.
Yeah, we've talked about this a great deal. But you, of course, when you took that 12-year sabbatical that you were talking about, I know that one of the things you did, which you found most valuable, was listening to great singers.
Yes.
And that is something that every young instrumentalist should know.
Till today, I go home and I listen only to operas.
But Volodya,
All the time operas. All the time operas.
you find that the vocal world is the greatest teacher for expressivity,
Yes,
and melodic lines.
because it is natural.
Volodya, I was very interested that you went back to RCA, because first you started with RCA, and then in 65 you went to Columbia.
Columbia
Yes.
was too scrapping.
This Scriabin.
But I think the best what I did with them is the last 3 or 4.
Uh-huh.
For my taste.
Yes.
Maybe not yours, but it's my taste. I have to take my own too.
You mean the Beethoven sonatas, for
No,
example?
I think the Castellano was one of my
Castellano,
best
yes.
records.
Ah, yes.
I
Quite a
think so.
magnificent piece.
It's magnificent
agree.
music and magnificent record came out just like I like it.
Now, of course.
But
you-
I never listen my record, never. If I radio open and my record is playing, I right away switch it, because I never play twice the same way.
And I want you to know another favorite record of mine. That's the Liszt Hungarian Rhapsody, the 19th. And
That
you-
I don't know about what note it starts.
I know you don't. You always say that. You always say that you don't know your
I
common
don't know
fantasy.
anything.
And you say you don't know the Stars and Stripes
I
Forever.
don't play that anymore, no.
Yeah, you
Not
know-
because I cannot.
I bet you could.
No, I sure could restore
See?
that, but I will tell you why. You see, I have lots of energy and mind and emotion that goes into program. It's difficult to remember and to give everything when you play 2 hours of difficult music and beautiful emotional thing. Then you play a little piece of 5 minutes, and everybody talks only about that 5 minutes, and they forget about the whole program. So
Yeah.
I kill my whole program with that, so I don't do it anymore. That's the only reason.
It's very funny.
It's the only, I already make a little snack, like after dinner you take a peppermint, it's like SSL Moshkovsky, Sparks,
Yes.
or things like that, just
Yes.
like a joke.
By the way, I love your coda to that. That's really
It is
very
good.
exciting.
Yeah, anyway.
It's electrified. Great fun.
And so that I do, but I will not play only the things like that, only the serious pieces. No more I will not play that.
And you think
In the program I can play Rhapsody, Hungarian Rhapsody, there are some beautiful that I could. I played the 13 in Boston 2 years ago.
Yes.
The 13.
Well, I'm awfully glad you played one of them, because you said to me a couple of years ago, I'm not going to play any Liszt Rhapsodies anymore.
No, I'm a little bit cooler
Cool,
for this music, yeah, a little bit.
You said that to me just about 10 years ago, and also at the same time you said to me, it was 66. I was so surprised at this. After your historic return and everything was going marvelously, and you said to me, absolutely seriously, you said to me, I said, what are you playing next? And you said, Brasher, you said, I don't think I'm going to play another recital. I really don't think I'm going to play again. It's what you said to me, absolutely serious.
In 66?
In 66.
But I play 67,
I
68,
know.
and 69.
I know.
No, I will play. I will play till I can. It's not something happens with me, all human beings. If nothing happens to me, I will play.
Well, you really sounded so full of vitality the other night.
Anyhow, I don't, good or bad, but I don't play like an old man. I play still young. That I'm sure. Isn't it true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now tell us about the concertos. Are you thinking of recording any concertos, perhaps?
I will. Any concerto.
And
anything.
And
I'm crazy about, you will laugh now, I'm crazy about Mozart concerto now.
I should laugh.
Yeah.
They are the greatest concertos ever written by
that's
anybody.
Right. And I will maybe record 3, 4, 5 concerto Mozart.
Oh, marvelous.
Very possible.
Which particularly?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't want to talk about that because
all right,
the people pick up my talking with that. I don't want to be.
Well, they can't pick up your pianist.
No, but something. But I will play something when I will have my anniversary. Then I will play
that will
probably...
be 78, right?
78 is 50 years I debut.
Yes.
I will play probably third Rachmaninoff concerto.
That
I will do.
That I hope.
I don't know for public or for record, but I will play. Probably mostly for record.
Yeah.
For public, I will do 50 years anniversary, but giving a recital probably. Because I have difficulty to play with orchestra. I myself, my own orchestra. But you know that what we did with Rachmaninoff, when he was 1 year before he died here, he was living in Beverly Hills, and I was living in Beverly Hills. We spent summer, 4 months together. And that was the time that he composed his last composition, the Symphonic Dances.
Yes.
And he transcribed it for 2 piano. Yeah.
How nice.
Yeah. And he said that let's work this summer and play together. So we started to work together, and we rehearsed for 6 weeks, and his second suite.
That's marvelous.
And then he went and he said that now it's going very well.
Record.
He invites 50 people. And we give a concert. Here, in the Seraph book, he described that Seraph was there.
Yes.
And that I don't want to, that nobody knows about that, and I don't want to talk because there are no witnesses, but I usually never lie, never.
I have never known you to say anything that wasn't absolutely 100%.
But he said that he wanted to give a recital with me on the piano, his composition.
That would be great.
He said that to follow that.
Great.
And that came to me, and said, we did it already. We played together. If you play for 50 people or for 3,000, makes no difference. We rehearsed 6 weeks, you know.
What a shame that wasn't perpetuated.
He died.
He
died next year.
Volodya, we must never put things off. We must never put things off.
No, but
just got to do them right there and then. What a dear, wonderful man.
That's all what we have to talk, no?
Yes, I think so. And I can't thank you enough, Volodya, for this great visit and this celebration.
I'm very happy to see you. You told me things which I don't remember, and I'm very happy to see you that I know you 50 years. That makes me very, very young. You are young too, you know.
It was a great celebration, and I do thank you for your loyalty and your great friendship and your magnificent artistry.
Thank you. I'm very happy to hear this from you.